Hey up, and have I got an epic one for you this time? Stick around and watch all the video, because I assure you it will be interesting, especially for anyone who's thinking of rebuilding one of these Corgi Thames ice cream vans that has the musical chimes. I'm gonna try and pass my knowledge on for any future builders that want to restore them and get the chimes working again. Bearing in mind that the chimes are in good enough condition already, even though non-working, to get them working again. As long as there's no major damage, it should be possible. Anyway, here's where I started. A Corgi Thames Walls ice cream van, somewhat the worse for wear, and it's the musical version with non-working chimes. There was just absolutely nothing on it at all when you turn the handle. Even the handle was a little bit bent, so it had hardware from a child in the past. Anyway, first things first, as per usual, we drill the base open to see what we encounter inside. I bought this one off eBay with a supply of reproduction spurs. A couple I used and some I didn't, for reasons I'll get on to. Anyway, there's the base off, and basically what's inside the chassis unit. On this, the suspension was brilliant, which sometimes it isn't on Corgi, they've snapped. But here's the main culprit, what we're going to be dealing with, the musical box interior. It is actually a Hong Kong manufactured part, so Corgi must have farmed the parts making out to Hong Kong, didn't do it in-house. And there's the basic unit as is. It's actually fastened in with some top hat style rivets, and you can just see around it. Basically you have the winding handle. All I'm doing here at the moment is lubricating and cleaning with a brush. There's 2 screws there on the rakes. Anyway, the handles turn in there, and in turn there's a wire wrapped around the handle that meshes with the gear on the drum. There you can see from another angle the wire at the top on the handle meshes with the gear on the musical drum. On this bit it were getting so far and wouldn't turn. For reasons I'll get to, it's basically age, wear, rough handling. There was a couple of things wrong on mine. All repairable. I mean, even if there's some damage, if all the bits are there, you should be able to repair. The only real thing you won't be able to repair is if the teeth, nylon teeth, had been taken off the musical drum gear area. Anything else really on these should be repairable. And on the rakes there, the teeth, it looks as if there's some broken off. I've seen pictures of another, and they're about the same ones that are missing. So I'd say that's how they are meant to be, with bits missing for tuning and where the bits catch. Anyway, here I've got the drum moving a bit, may well be playing the chimes there. I think it was playing the chimes, or we're listening to it muted. But there, in more detail, you can see the wire wrapped around the handle, gripped to the handle. And in turn, that meshes with the gearing on the drum. I'll show that in a second on another view. And I'm pointing into where the gearing is there. You can't really see it on that shot, but if I turn it over, there's the nylon gear. That's the only part, as I can figure out, would be unrepairable if they strip the nylon gearing, because the teeth shouldn't be worn and the rakes there shouldn't be worn. And there's only other things that stop it, is if you look where the cranking handle is, there's round pins at the top with the two bars that go across, and on this one they'd loosened so the wire there wasn't meshing with the gearing. And on the sides here you also have a pin there that goes into the drum, and it's held in with a screw from the top so it can be adjusted in and out for your grip for the drum to hold in. I basically pushed it up, loosened the screw off, pushed it up till the drum were firm, but not too firm that it wouldn't turn, and then tightened it. And these parts are rivets at the top. These had loosened off, meaning the shaft was moving so it wouldn't mesh with the gears. So I had to hammer in the rivets. It's best done if you take the drum out first. I'll explain in the drawing here some of the more finer mechanical points that you can't necessarily see on video. This is going to be the body, say the body of the base casting that everything fits in, and there is the drum being put in. It's actually not, I drew that bit incorrectly, but I rectify it in a bit for you. It's just good enough to explain the drum and the actual, I drew it too far away from the casting thing, so I'll draw me wall again, doesn't really matter. That's how basically the drum's held in. And here, explaining it a bit more. I'll do it down here. You have the wall there. And at the top, there's a screw. This one's a threaded screw. And at the side, going through, is another type of screw with a point on the end, and the point centres in the centre of the drum, and you push in, then lock up with a screw on top. That's the side screw, and it's a flat head. Although there aren't any threads on it, it's just a pin, locating pin. The top's the screw that tightens onto the pin to give you adjustment, so the drum's held central and firm. And going over to the other side, we have what am I up to on this now? I'm just explaining the point on the side. And this side on the wall, there's a hole on the wall that the point on the drum locates into the wall there, as you see. That was the drum I drew first, then the wall. Then obviously there's the gears on that. And this part I'm doing now, still the drum, explaining a bit more on it for bits and pieces. And here, what you have, I'm going to be doing the spikes on the drum that actually pluck the rakes, the musical rake parts, or if you will, like a teeth on a claw. There's the rake, the one with all your different musical chimes, and they are held in with two flat screws which you can move to adjust the rakes closer towards the drum and move them till they hit the musical notes correctly. There is a degree of adjustment in it to make it play correctly. And they're a bit larger in scale. You need to get your rakes close into the drum, but not so close that it'll stop the actual drum revolving when you turn the handle. It's just enough so the actual teeth will pluck the rakes. And this bit I've got my big mitt in the way. I'm just explaining there that there's the wall opposite the gears. It has a hole in that area, and on the drum there, that's the geared pinion. With gears on that you have to make sure your handle meshes with, and I'll explain the fault that were on mine, the main fault that stops it, which I presume will be the fault that'll stop most of them, because they're a reasonably robust item and hard to get into. But say that's your cranking handle with the wire on it for revolving your musical box. You can see the wire in the middle with a spike wound round in a spiral fashion, and the handle on the end. So what you have then is two blocks that it's set into, like that, and it's a bit of a gap there. What I'm doing, there's a plate on top and it should be closed together on both of them. It should be closed together with the two rivets showing on top on each of them. But on the one I had, like that there I'm showing, there was a gap and it was open, so it gave play to the turning handle, so the turning handle in turn didn't mesh with the gears on the drum, show it here in a bit bigger fashion. That's the rivet that holds the plate on, and when you hammer it, it expands in the gap and also pulls down the plate that secures the handle in place. It pulls down the plate together, so then your gears should mesh. And I put a bit of grease on it, motorcycle chain grease, and also sprayed with some WD-40 finer oil. But here we are, we'll rip that off, and I forgot what I did here, but I did a bit more explaining, I'm sure. Rip that off and throw it away, it's not square. Bit OCD. Good coming from someone who can't draw a straight line. Anyway, these are the rakes on the musical box, and as I mentioned, I've seen one done in a forum where somebody's repaired the musical box in a die-cast forum, and they've said they were broken because it seems a bit as if odd parts are missing, which I don't think it's the case really. I think it's a case of how they were tuned and they just needed the ones that are in there, because as you can see, you have stuff like that, then you'll have a gap, and another gap, and I think there's 3 gaps in all. But anyway, that basically explains the musical box and how to remedy any faults, etc. Anyway, here I'm re-riveting the music box back in by reusing the top part rivets I saved. You can take them out with a needle nose plier, and here you can hear the chimes working as they back in the van. At that point they were just loosely put in, so I could see everything was back together. And at this point I'm buffing up the screens. I got a new glass box for the rear, the glass house, but I decided not to use it and to use the original plastic, even though it had a little line cracking. The original plastics had yellowed, and I decided I wanted that patina rather than a new one. And besides, if I'd used the new one, they'd have needed shaving down, because in areas the plastic were too thick on the reproduction. There I polished the alloy wheels with silver water salt. And here I'm drilling the body, ready for tapping. At the rear end there, I ended up sawing off the lugs and using longer screws than usual, because you have to be careful they burst through. I ended up angling it a little bit, saw the bottom lugs off, angle it a bit tap it, and I used longer screws. Here we are, drilling again. As I say, them rear ones were problematic. I really would advise drilling at an angle towards the rear so you don't burst out, and using longer screws to reach them. Here I'm filing off the burrs on the rear and the front. So the new chassis will go in better. It's a chromed plastic item, and it's not perfect. You have to fettle it a little bit and file it down in areas and stuff, so it goes in and it's a nice fit. So I'm doing a bit off screen here. I'm actually filing a little bit of the body there that didn't fit. Anyway, doing a test fit of the chassis piece, the reproduction part. They always need a little bit of work, repro parts. They're not perfect, but with a little bit of work, they're a very good replacement. I don't know where this one came from. I'm guessing at Model Supplies, because I think someone gave up on the project or decided it were too complex, or just sold it as a package they weren't gonna do, but they'd already bought the parts and they supplied it with the model. Anyway, here I'm tapping the actual body out to take the screws, re-put the chassis in, and screw the base on to see it fits all okay. Which at that point I discovered I needed longer screws. I mentioned this on Facebook in a group I'm in for a laugh. Anyway, here at this point I'm mixing paint to more or less match it. I mixed it with about 4 or 5 colours, including blues, a green, a black, to actually get the tone and the actual contrast colour right. And it's not perfect, it was a little bit on the dark side, but because I've done the full van, it's as near as damn it you won't know unless you put it alongside another. And a lot of the time they use different varying colours along the same thing in factory anyway, so it'd probably match with another one. And here we can see where I'm putting a test piece on. There's the actual mix paint, and put alongside the paint I've mixed the colour to, which is near as damn it. The only thing I forgot is acrylic paints dry a little tone darker, so it were a little tone darker, but it's something I can live with. And here I'm trying the cream on the rear part, and I decided out of the bottle was close enough. I had a colour that came straight out of the bottle and it were near as damn it for me. So that solved that problem. So once I'd mixed the paints for the job, the castings went into paint stripper. My normal caustic bath of doom. And there we go. The paint's off in a shaking lamb's tail. And here I'm buffing up with a wire wheel, getting rid of oxidisation, any old paint that's remaining, and get down to the original metals. Ready for a primer coat to go on. starting with primer coat, first on the base plate, which is going to be grey as per factory. Next on the actual car body. And next onto the actual rear body. And next colour goes on the car body. Building up nicely, so then once that's been built up, we go on to the rear body part, which is sprayed with the creamy colour. Looking damn fine there. And there we're having a clear coat, which I put on all the finished items. They got a coat of gloss clear for protection. A bit tougher than the actual paint that's on them. And here is the canopy with the paper awning inside. Already put in, replaced into it. And here we are, we've put some of the stickers on, the Repro stickers, and I've painted details on it. So it's pretty much finished at this point. And here we have the model as it started, pretty complete, but needing help as there's broken parts on it and missing parts and parts that need cleaning up, and non-working musical box. Basically had an hard life for itself and totally looking the worse for wear. But lovely model, and here's where we finished. A beautiful model, looking fantastic. Anyway, if you've enjoyed, please subscribe. Thanks to all my old subscribers, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now and take care, and just listen to the music.